we go, waiting for thee. Tech gods, I love thee. Woohoo! And we're in. How exciting. Okay. So, can't wait for everybody to start hanging out, giving lots of comments. You know, we're going to have a great conversation on Transcendent Thursdays this morning on why magic goes wrong or doesn't work. Just give me a second here to get all the tech stuff all lined up. Where did we go? What happened? Oh, there we are. Nope. Nope. There we are. Like, where do we go? Beautiful. Okie dokie. All right. So we got a little bit of a delay situation happening, but I lovingly invite you to continue to make comments and engage. And each time you engage, then it'll be more interactive experience. You know, I'm looking forward to, you know, having this really great conversation this morning with you. So just give me one more sec here, just, you know, sharing in all the other social media places so that people can come hang out with us. We got the link so that we can have a juicy, powerful, and awesome conversation. Okay. All righty. Woohoo! Here we go. Welcome to another episode of Transcendent Thursdays. I am your host for Transcendent Thursdays. This is where we explore all things spiritual, magical, mystical. This is where I show up as my high priestess of sexual magic and guardian of elemental magics. I'm also a conduit of love and light and a universal translator. So these are kind of some of the things that who I am, if you haven't hung out with me before. Okay, so let's get into our conversation. So I'm a holistic sexual wellness specialist. So if you're used to like hanging out with me and I'm all about the sex and the juiciness and, you know, awakening, today is all about me showing up as my magical goddess, divine high priestess self. Okay. So let's get into our topic. So I was having a conversation yesterday with a lovely gentleman, and he was saying that sometimes when he does, in particular, he was talking about sex magic and rituals, he doesn't get the outcome that he's looking for or desiring. And so we started having a conversation about why that was. And I thought that was a great topic that I wanted to cover today. So what I shared with him is that often there's typically a couple different reasons why when you perform magic or rituals or cast spells or casting, or basically you're asking the universe of some capacity for something very specific, then when it doesn't work, why that is. So the first one is that there are different types of magic. So when I talk about magic, I'm talking about love and light magic, you know, doing no harm to yourself or others. I'm not talking about shadow magic or black magic or where you make shit happen. Okay. So it's important to differentiate those two. So when we're talking about light magic and love and light magic, and do no harm magic. So when you are asking the universe, divine, whatever it is that you believe for something very, very, very specific, what you're doing is you're making it more challenging for the divine to answer your request and to actually take it under advisement and actually fulfill that. And part of that is because when you go so specifically that there's a zillion things that they have to line up to make it happen in that particular way. It may happen, but it may take a long time before you actually see the results of it. One of the ways to kind of avoid that is by surrendering and letting go of control. And stop being a control freak is one way, which is another conversation that we'll have. But it's also to be more general, like, for example, say I want to bring in wealth into my life. Okay, so we'll take money as an example, and say I happen to be using, sex magic as a vehicle to manifest that into reality. I can say, all right, universe, I want you to bring me money in this amount, in this way, from this possibility, like from clients. Okay. So it's very specific. Now, that's not saying that the universe won't make it happen. It just means that the universe has to work an awful lot harder to make that happen in that very specific way. So instead, what I may do is say, universe of love and light, as I'm, setting my intentions for what I'm using, whatever magic I'm using. And I would say something more like, universe of love and light, I lovingly receive abundance in my, I lovingly receive financial abundance in my day-to-day life. Now, what that does is it opens up possibilities. It could come from clients. It could come from winning in the lottery. It could come from, courses. It could come from, an exchange. Like, there's lots of different ways in which that financial abundance can show up in my life, because I haven't specifically said from clients in this way and this amount. If I were to talk about wanting a specific amount, which I do, one of the ways in which I do that in giving the universe space to actually fulfill this into reality is I may say, universe of love and light, I open my heart, my mind, and my loins to receive $10,100 Canadian after taxes. So shall it be. Okay. Now, when I do that, I'm talking about a very specific amount, so now I can have, setting a goal and all that kind of stuff. But I've made enough space in that of how I'm going to receive that and what capacity of that's going to show up in my life. I've gotten out of the way and I've let the universe do its thing. Okay. So that's one way in why things may not be working, or you may not see the fruition, because the way that you've asked for it, you've put so many blockages or so many specific details in there that the universe has to move heaven and hell and align the stars and everything so that could actually happen. Okay. The second reason often people don't see results is because what they're asking for is not in line or is going to support your higher purpose of why you're here. I like to call it your soul's contract that you've signed in between lives. So whatever your purpose, your alignment with your soul's contract is, if it's in line with it, the universe will make it easy, and it'll totally, you'll receive it, and it's easy, and everything goes according to, not only your limited master plan, but the divine's master plan. But if it's not actually going to support or be in line with your higher self, with your soul's contract, it doesn't matter how much you want that to happen. It doesn't matter what kind of magic you're wielding. It ain't going to happen unless you start moving into working on the dark side. of things, where you're not moving from do no harm. But if you're moving from a place of do no harm, if what you're asking for is not in line with your soul's contract and for your higher good and your higher purpose, it will not manifest into reality. So I just wanted to take a moment just to give you those thoughts, to just kind of sit with that for a little bit, so that you're like, oh, that kind of makes sense. Now, if you're like, learning about magic and playing with magic, I highly recommend, just before I let you go, is that you make sure that you're not fucking with shit that you don't know what you're doing. Because playing with magic is like playing with a chainsaw or playing with fire. If you don't know how to navigate it properly, you can do a lot of harm, not with intent, but you can do a lot of harm to yourself and to others. So please make sure that you reach out to, a teacher, a mentor, that can actually help you navigate how to move with ethics and do no harm and all those kind of things. I happen to do that work. If you connect with me or resonate with me, you can reach me at succulentliving.com. You can also reach me at divinealchemy.guru to learn about courses that I teach and different ways in which you can work with me. But if you don't resonate with me, I still think it's very, very important that you go find a teacher that you do resonate, a mentor that you do resonate, that talk about the responsibility and the ethics of doing no harm to yourself or others. Okay? All right, so I hope you have a very magical day and that you learned lots, and I can't wait to, talk to you guys next month. So Transcendent Thursdays is moved to once a month on the 4th Thursdays of every month. We've moved over to YouTube because we've had less problems than what's happening over in Facebook. I've had a lot of problems over at Facebook with algorithms. So we've moved over to YouTube. So if you're watching the replay of this, please subscribe, because then your subscription will actually help you know when I'm going live, so that you can come join me and ask me questions and we can engage with each other and have a wonderful, stimulating conversation. Plus, I'm also having co-hosts these days every once in a while, guest speakers or guest co-hosts that come on, and we have great conversations and dialogue about different aspects of spirituality and magic. And if you are or know anybody that might be a good fit for having a great conversation with me, please send them my way. You can find me at Facebook, on Messenger, at Gmail, or at Gaia Morrissette. And you can also find me at succulentliving.com. And the other place that you can connect with me is Instagram, which is also Gaia Morrissette. So there's lots of different ways. Basically, type in Gaia Morrissette and you'll find all the different ways that you can engage with me out in the world. Okay. All right. Have a juicy day. And I will see you. Oh, and if you want to be on and you want to get these videos right in your email, join in the description how you can join my Transcendent Thursday list, so you don't even have to worry about lives. You just want to watch the replays. I'll send you a lovely email, and you can learn and you can get me in your box. All right, bye bye. See you next month.